Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. And we're zooming in and focusing in on a very poignant, very moving viewer comment. And that is really the struggle, as this video is really going to be as an inspiration or response to a story and example that she relayed to the channel, particularly that of her struggle with codependency and as it relates to her relationship with a covert narcissist partner in her life. And I want to really address this because I feel that there are a lot of viewers who are struggling with this, so this will really hit home, and really how to really handle and move through codependence, specifically as it relates to covert narcissism. It really helps me to understand and have the insight that codependency is created from somewhere. It is created from a relationship, oftentimes in a family of origin. It goes back way one. It goes back over yonder. It goes back into the very formative relationships that have been created in the foundation of your reality. And so we're really going to address this, how to move through and how to heal codependence, especially as it relates to covert narcissist relationships. And before we get started, I just want to give a huge shout out to those of you who have recently donated and contributed to the channel. It is so good to hear from you. Thank you so much for your contributions, your viewerships, your comments, and your support of the channel. It really helps to inspire me, and it lets me know that this really is creating a valuable resource, and we're really hitting home here, and that this is actually helping you to make positive changes and rapid results in your life. So thank you so much for your contributions, and absolutely positively, if the channel has been a positive resource for you and we've been there, please do feel free to interact, participate, and give to and support the channel at the Peace and Harmony About page at the PayPal Donate Now button. Thank you so much for your contributions. It really does help keep me inspired and help me to keep the content flowing. So thank you so much for your donations. So we're zooming in and focusing in a little bit more on how to heal codependency, especially as it relates to a codependent relationship, and understanding that this is the cause, this created the effect in your life. It has to stem from somewhere. It's not like you just came into this life, this world, this earth plane, this physical body, signing up to be codependent. The tabula rasa, the William Thoreaus, the people who have looked at and studied self-reliance, the Declaration of Independence, moved through great evolutions, made great inventions, great discoveries. This oftentimes is because they were inspired and were driven then to live and do more and to push the boundaries. So codependency is kind of like an experience which is the result of such. It's also the result of a passion, a desire, a drive to push the boundaries, but you're pushing the boundaries inward as a result of adapting and adjusting, oftentimes to a narcissist, a covert narcissist, or a psychopathic individual, someone where there is a dysfunction and imbalance and issue. So your life is living like the correction of such. It's like, it is living as an adaptation. And really to understand, it's because the way that this person communicates, oftentimes through manipulation and control, the pronouncement that their viewpoint is the only way, the right way, and single-handedly you must adapt and adjust. You have no recourse to discussion. It is to understand that you have then had to take a backseat, a disempowered feeling as a result and reaction to this. So not only is it to understand that this and she basically, it's a very poignant story. She is a disabled vet. She says she's been living like this for too long. She has complex PTSD and goes nowhere. She feels a slave to her 2 oldest adult sons, as well as the man who lives with her. And she says none of them pay any bills. The youngest is 20. The oldest son is 33. And he is 58. And she says, that they call her filthy names. She pays all the bills. She cleans the house. She does all the yard work. She is a disabled vet. Okay. If this doesn't give you a pronouncement to the trauma in how she's put in and relegated to a feeling of helplessness, and then these individuals are taking advantage of her. It's an actual sickening story, and how, these people call her vulgar names. They wish her dead. They wish her gone. She has to do all the yard work, cleaning the house. She is living in disrepair from Hurricane Harvey, which is a hurricane that hit the southeastern part of the United States, particularly that in Texas, where there's a lot of flooding, wind damage, etc. It's a very horrific situation. So not only to be in a disabled veteran status, but then to encounter this disrepair and have to clean up the mess. And here are 3 grown adult men, and she's a female, who are not taking responsibility and helping. They're doing nothing but doing the blame game, calling her stupid, etc. Even worse, names, very vulgar, as you can imagine, swearing like a sailor, a fireman, whoever, whatever you want to call it, calling her names in condemnation. But furthermore, they are stealing from her, and furthermore are addicted to drugs like cocaine, meth. I mean, you get the picture. So the impoverished mentality here is furthermore not only that they are taking from her as a disabled veteran, and thank you so much for your service, the bravery and honor that you have had to stand up to, for your service, is with huge heartfelt gratitude and a heavy heart that we hear this story. But it's to understand that these people are taking advantage of someone with a big heart. In other words, her heart is so big that it's really taken on the experience of codependency, meaning no matter what, I must take care of your needs above and paramount than my own. In other words, my love for you is overshadowing my needs, my right, clear thinking, my own decision-making and judgment, and I can't deal with it anymore. It's to the point where you love this person or people to the point that you're emotionally upside down. You're toppled over emotionally. You would do anything for them. Your whole life, your only meaning becomes taking care of others. You're so far, the forest from the trees, that you can't see perspective anymore. And it's and to take everything so personally and not being able to confront is basically what happens when you are so entrenched or enmeshed in a codependent relationship. Once again, meaning that your role, your meaning in life takes on no meaning unless these people are there. So it becomes, your boundaries are so far moved in that you can't assert your boundaries anymore. You become weakened. And it is very important when it comes to addressing codependency and how to move through it, is to understand that the relationship has nothing to do with you, and to stop taking it so personally. The codependency, in my viewpoint, after reading this email, is to understand that it is oftentimes taken so close to heart, so close to meaning in your life, that you cannot see the meaning or value of yourself anymore. It's to see that their needs overshadow, overwhelm, and overwhelm, CPSD as well as post-traumatic stress syndrome, is that it is emotional overwhelm. You are not able to really see clearly, fear clearly. There is trepidation, there's fear, there's anxiety, there's the feeling of constant, you're living 24/7 in that fight or flight mechanism. And it causes you to give in and not be able to confront. It becomes a situation where you're fearful of standing up for yourself. You're fearful of communicating and confronting. It becomes very uncomfortable. It doesn't even become second nature. It becomes not your nature. And it's because you've been so memorized and rehearsed and experienced in this constant trauma that it's just replaying over and over like a loop. As they say in epigenetics, those neurons that fire together eventually wire together. So in other words, it becomes hardwired in your brain then to constantly feel fearful, to constantly fear the anxiety, to constantly feel uncomfortable. It's understanding that is because, in my viewpoint, the meaning and the feeling of taking it personally, in other words, to take all these vulgar comments personally. It's to say that I am, these words. I am these slang terms. I am not good enough. I am nothing but the slave to your needs. And it's to see, that you are entering this into a feeling state by default because you can't feel and generate that feeling of I am worthy in the face of this, and that furthermore, I am dependent on this. I'm dependent on my role and how I take care of these people. So we're going to look at, and there's just so much to look at and address, but number one I want to address in this video is how to help you get distance or depersonalize the codependent state in relationships. When we talk about, especially as it relates to narcissists, when we talk about covert narcissists, it very much has dawned on me and comes to me as an insight that these people who have a personality disorder to overpower others, it's very much like an alcoholic or a drug addict, someone who is addicted to meth, cocaine, heroin, alcohol. In the severe cases, it becomes really overwhelming to their personality. So these people are weak as it comes to their ability to address their dependency on the substance. So in other words, they are helpless. They are powerless over the drug. They are powerless over the drink. They are powerless over the addiction, the gambling, the spending, the compulsive activities. And so just as you might have seen in all the videos on Netflix today that expose drug addicts called, dope and narcos and all the other videos, if you haven't looked at those, I would highly recommend it. If you otherwise you see those people who are on meth, on heroin, on cocaine, they are powerless over their addiction. The drug is doing them. They are not doing the drug. Like Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, he talks about moderation, and he talks about the importance of living a life of what he calls definiteness of purpose. Anyone who has obtained great manifestation, wealth, and really, calling up of their dreams and living their dreams have a definiteness of purpose. And so once you live in this purpose, it gives meaning to your life, and you're no longer in the fight or flight. You're living in the prefrontal cortex, where you're living in your higher judgment. You can't simultaneously be in fear, be in self-doubt, and be in definiteness of purpose. You have to cross that bridge. Codependency will keep you on the side that you want to get away from. So to help you get kind of some distance and depersonalize and move through and handle and deal with codependency, specifically as it relates to narcissist relationship, is to understand that when you are hearing these terms, or feeling this manipulation, telling you the judgment that you are not good enough, I want you to understand that the narcissist, it's not the true person that you're hearing these words from. It is like the narcissist speaking. It's the drug addict talking. It is the narcissist talking. It is the alcohol talking. Have you ever seen someone who's belligerent, out of control, and completely in a drunken stupor, and they apologize the next day, and they might say it's the alcohol talking? it was the cocaine talking, and then they're embarrassed, they were out of control, they were under the influence. I want you to help, and perhaps this will help you to understand that when you're in the middle of a covert narcissist, either the quiet rage, the withholding, or the overt narcissist control, where that you feel like you're being in a smear campaign, being outnumbered. Remember, it is the narcissist talking, it is the alcohol talking, it is not the actual person. You don't deserve all the negativity, the slander, the scapegoating that you are being subjected to. It is the alcohol talking. It is the narcissist talking. It's the cocaine talking. It's the heroin talking. Do you see how you can kind of group that in the same category and understand that the belligerence has nothing to do with you? You are not, the cause of the crazy making. What is going on in the mindset and attitude and personality disorder in line of thinking has everything to do with the narcissist. It has everything to do with that covert manipulation behavior and how they set themselves up for success to continue to get their drug of supply, to maintain their status, and it has nothing to do with you. You are just in a position where you need to detach, depersonalize, and then reassert yourself and your boundaries and speak into emotional sobriety, to speak into sobriety to get your needs met. So oftentimes the fear is so pronounced and set up so severely is because this individual has won the challenge. You can't feel like you're gonna, win the battle but lose the war, so to speak. And we don't want to use that terminology, but it really does feel like it is really that sort of reality of your existence, that it is that troubling, it is that severe. It's causing that much triggering of fear or a difficulty to emerge to the other side. And it creates the fog, not being able to see, think, decide, or behave clearly. And so to get through that, I think it can be very helpful to understand that when you look at it this way, you're able to understand that you are the sober one. You are the one who sees things clearly, feels things clearly, knows what to do, but you can't depend on a reaction. You can't depend on perhaps support from these individuals whom you hold dearly or love in your life. So knowing that to be the case, it is to understand that it's going to feel differently when you really look at it in a sober way. To really cope with and deal with codependence as it relates to the covert narcissist, it's to understand that you're going to need to give yourself some emotional space, even though the thrust of your mindset is to try to become closer to this person, and to do so means self-sacrifice, paying the bills, paying it dearly with your time, living with violation, living with people stealing not only from your finances, but your own emotional bank account, which is really what is the most valuable here, is your emotional bank account. And it is to understand that is where you need to fill your cup. You need to give value to your peace and your independence and get some assertiveness so that you can then recalibrate or recalculate the scales and get respect. Get respect back. You can only regain autonomy and get your self-respect back and heal through codependence when you are able to assert your boundaries and your feelings as more important, more valuable, more clear than that which you are seeing in front of your eyes being projected from this person. So it's so important to look within, and this is so crucial that you do this and you have this and you develop the self-talk before and then furthermore behaving to confront and handle this. The covert narcissist will bank on you buying into their addiction. In other words, that you listen to the narcissist talking, the addict talking, and that you'll continue to enable this. So they're banking on that. They're counting on keeping their addiction going. So when you really look at it, the narcissist is like an addict. They're addicted to this pathological self-importance and all that it makes them do. It makes them do crazy things. It makes them treat people in crazy ways. They are addicted. So knowing that to be the case, and if you kind of are able to reframe it and saying, wow, I am dealing with an addict, not only someone who is addicted to a substance such as alcohol, meth, cocaine, gambling, that this is them out of control. It doesn't make them the stronger one, just like the narcissist who is addicted to their selfishness, or that, it doesn't make them the stronger one. Even though, they have strength in numbers, strength of finances, they've won, the smaller battles, but not the larger picture, which is your sanctity, your sanity, and getting what you want. It's to understand that it's not over. It is up to you to take the helm, to take, put the gears into drive, to go to first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and to do this manually like a stick shift. You might need to actually get some control of your own emotional engine in this way and in this manner. And so it's to understand that they are overpowered by their need to look good, be the number one, be the king of the crop, queen of the crop, whomever this is, and that they're banking on you keeping them in that position. When you are codependent, you actually have to vote them in. So it's to understand that you are not helpless in this situation. It is this individual, despite the fact that they look and, are, behaving as such, they are powerless to this. So they have a compulsion, a need to maintain. Once again, remember that when you are receiving of this negativity, don't personalize it. Don't take it as your I am. See it as the result of their own addiction. And yes, someone who is narcissistic can be addicted to alcohol, drugs. In fact, oftentimes they are. Whether it's a status drug, being, the socialite, being just like, I can do whatever what I want with my life. I can, abuse my body. It doesn't mean you have to stay around for the train wreck. Oftentimes that's what codependency is. It's like the Gaper's Black. You're just like wondering what it is, that's going to happen next. So you just stay glued on the situation and you then become addicted to the powerlessness. It's like the, people who just want to say, oh my God, look what happened. And they're actually, indulging this fear. So you need to stop indulging the fear and to understand that fear is like an indulgence. It's like a rich chocolate that you become also, you begin to perpetuate it yourself. So it's to understand, hello there, I do have a role in voting in or indulging in this relationship. And in the safety of my heart, I can find the safety, which is your number one go-to state that you need to create and work on and prioritize for yourself, is that of safety. Is that of safety. Is that of safety within and self-reliance, and not the safety as it appears without. The smear campaign, the things that they're going to say, the fear of abandonment. Oftentimes that is the fear of abandonment that keeps you in that fear state. So it's to say and generate within, it is to know that you are safe. Safety and releasing of your secrets is the number one key, or two keys, if you have a double bolted emotional door. Safety as well as the self-reliance are keys to opening the floodgates to your feeling of empowerment and getting what you want in life and getting and settling the score. So, codependency is like living with an unbalanced checkbook. It's saying, I don't know, this has gone amok, but I'm just going to keep writing the checks. It's to, not hold others accountable, not have yourself accountable, and not get what you deserve. So the deserve state, the safety state, and then releasing of the secrets is crucial to allowing yourself to be free and then also to be able to be assertive. So, and to get to this, you have to be able to depersonalize how you have been dehumanized. So it's to remove yourself from feeling that you have, are causative or need to be connected to either these people and these states, period. So it's to say, it's to have the tough love and to say, if I really love them, I wouldn't be doing A, B, C, and D. If I really love them, I would not allow this codependence. So it's to allow yourself the safety in your heart and to release the secrets that you have kept for so long, that I'm allowing this to happen, that I don't feel good enough, that I don't feel that I'll have anybody. All these become the secret statements, the secret treasure chest, which keeps the codependency going, in indulging yourself in this. And to say, you know what, I'm no longer going to allow myself to indulge or get the payoff of this any longer. This is actually not a payoff for me to allow this to perpetuate and to continue. My actual payoff, actual getting what I want, is to depersonalize, get some space, and be assertive here. And to say no more. This is unjust, this is unfair. And it's to assert your leadership, assert your I have, assert your peace, assert your safety. You're not used to having this on your own. You're used to including it with this inner circle of trauma. You're used to keeping this within and connected to these others. Do you see how this is an energetic shift and a connection? So it's to allow to have radical honesty and radical inclusion of then the standards that you then set forth. So it's being able to set boundaries and discipline on what you will allow in and what you will keep out of your inner circle, including your pocketbook, including your attention, including your time, your house, your workplace. It's to unequivocally put your foot down. I deserve. That's where the foot, putting the foot down, and then the communication begins to flow. The emotional banks, and not coming reactive, but more responding. So you're like your own inner circle. The locus of control is within, and it comes from a very safe place. It comes from a very self-loving place. It comes from a very loving of others and respect for others place. And to do that, you need to exit out of the fight or flight. You need to get into the peace. You need to get into that energetic vibration of I am. And very simple. I mean, even if it feels like you're regressing, you're needing to regress back and go back to whenever this trauma was set up, and realizing that it was that you would learn this, and this was the cause, this created this effect, and that was then. But say what I have is myself now. So it's understanding that that this was set up a long time ago, the foundation, the seeds, the source. But I can, as an adult mindset now that I have experience, I can pull myself out and develop to have gratitude. So these are all feeling states, and gratitude for what I have. What I have is mine. What is mine, I have. And if you repeat that over and over again, you'll be getting to get a handle on things, and you'll realize that you'll be coming then from the I have, I deserve, and then I have safety, I have peace, I have clarity of thought, I have safety. And you can write this again and again and again, and I have what I want, my needs are met, I have what I want, I deserve what I want. All this is for the greatest good. All this is for the greatest good. All this is for the greatest good. So you need to assert that, because any mishap is a result of guilt. So all these are coming back to feeling states. So I want you to really look at and understand how kind of the depression has created like the swampland where you weren't able to build a foundation of such. And then able to focus on the experiences, the feelings, and the mindset, and then the communication that makes you feel safe and to feel okay and not feel the fear. And to understand that the codependency, that whole identity was created on the role of fear, and then how you need this, you become addicted to the fear state in order to keep your own identity stuck. So we're going to need to, maybe it'll all be released and unshackled today. Maybe it'll be in a couple weeks when all this makes sense. But eventually you're going to become fueled by the positive and not the sort of feeling of being shackled to these tension states. So it's more of a positive set forth, and letting go of them. And then the other key is that no matter what this person says or does, you are being decisive and you're living with your own boundaries and standards, and you are communicating as such. So you can't enter the boxing ring anymore. You have to unequivocally say that to do so is continuing to make me sick. I'm not, this is not about having a fight. You need to be able to speak these words into existence and being able to back yourself up. I'm done with the fight. I'm not entering the boxing ring. This is not a fighting match. This is not something we're doing to the bitter end. This is how it's going to work. This is how it's going to work. You need to communicate with these sort of terms. If you're shaking, then you need to practice this more. If you're uncomfortable with this, well, you need to write it down. If you're not comfortable with this, even though this makes me uncomfortable, this is what I deserve. Even though this might not be what you want to hear, this is what we're going to do. Even though you don't want to hear this, even though you haven't even though we haven't done this before, even though you don't want to hear this, this is how it's going to go. This is how we're going to lay it all out. This is what's going to happen here. You are speaking your assertiveness. So it is assertiveness also that will help you to get out of the codependency trap. It's to see that it is an indulgence and it is a trap, and you belong free. You belong outside of the codependency. But it's so difficult to get out there when you've been so entrenched and so overwhelmed. So it's to get there little by little. I'm very moved by your story. And I hope there's just so much. We could do so many videos on this. So we're going to look, I want you to look at it on the surface level. I want you to look at it at the midline level. I want you to look at it at the deep level, because eventually it's all going to click. And eventually it's all going to be set free within you. And eventually you're going to be able to make decisions, choices, and things are really going to change in your life. And I hope that these concepts do help. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here. Please share, please subscribe.